there, my silly gooses. Welcome back to another edition of the My Two Cents Podcast Midweek Breakdown, where I am here, G2, talking to you guys for 10 to 15 minutes about any and everything. And the first thing I do want to, say is, if you're in the state of Texas or somewhere around Texas, in the northern parts of Mexico, I hope you guys are safe right now because at the time of this recording, Hurricane Harold is hitting Texas. Now, I'm not certain of this. I just became aware of this. I'm looking at like the weather.com and it says that Tropical Storm Harold may landfall in South Texas Tuesday. Heavy rain will continue to spread inland in South Texas and northern Mexico into Wednesday by the time this drops. But some parts of Texas and Louisiana mirror in a flash drought, but won't see much rain at all. So right now, Texas is getting some rain and getting some wind gust, and more than likely northern Mexico will be getting it as well. I hope everybody is safe over there. This past weekend, California, Nevada, Montana, Idaho, and Oregon, they got hit with Tropical Storm Hilary. More of the news basically covered California because of California getting an earthquake. I believe it was like a 5.1 or 5.8 during the time whenever the hurricane came about, or to come before the hurricane, one of the two. And California, or Southern California, if you will, got majority of the news coverage whenever Hurricane Hilary came around. I did not know about Idaho, Montana, Nevada, or Oregon basically getting effects or even getting hit by the hurricane. As I'm looking at NBCnews.com right now, they would say in Nevada, the record more than doubled to 9.20 inches, while Montana, Idaho, and Oregon all gained up to an inch more rain compared to the previous records. A tropical cyclone like Hilary setting rainfall records in 4 states is highly unusual, and only 2 other single tropical systems set rainfall records that came close to impacting as many states. Now, they will continue on saying forecasters, had predicted that due to high amounts of deep tropical moisture transported into the region, record-setting rainfall will be likely, including daily records, monthly records, and even state records. Again, I didn't know about all this happening with all these other states. I just know about Southern California, even that there was a photo or at least a video roaming around of like Dodger Stadium being like surrounded by water, but it would come out, I believe, Monday that wasn't necessarily the case. Dodger Stadium yes, it had water, but it was like the reflection from the sky hitting the ground, so it wasn't really surrounded by water, and Dodger Stadium is still bone dry, so that's something there, but it was weird. All this is weird. California getting a hurricane, or even just the West Coast getting a hurricane, that's extremely weird. Texas right now getting a hurricane, that doesn't seem like the realm of possibility. I understand that it's almost time for hurricane season over in the East Coast, like the Southern East, like the Florida, South Carolina, Georgia, all these other type of states in the southern areas. We need to start getting ourselves together because right now the weather is starting to show us something. It's showing us that it's going to be real different now. If we don't get no hurricane, if Florida does not get impacted by a hurricane this year, I will say, oh yeah, something's really going on, because usually hurricanes come around Florida like it's a usual thing. So I don't know how people in Florida really deal with it like the way that they do, but it's a usual situation whenever the hurricane season rolls around. While in the Carolinas, where I'm from right now, it just started to come around us. I will say 2016 was like the one, because that hit at least where I live, and that cut my power off for a good couple of days, almost like a week, until our power came back on. And we've gotten hurricanes after the fact, but not too bad. Like, we'll see the wind, we'll see the rain, but nothing as bad as like 2016's hurricane. And they do have it in this thing. What was it called? Florence was in 2018. There's one I'm thinking of 2016. Can't remember the name, but yeah, I just hope that everybody gets themselves together and all around uh, basically the borders of America, because it seems that's where a lot of these things are hitting us, and also the middle of America right now. They're getting hit with record setting numbers of heat. I don't know what's going on with the weather. People might say it's global warming. It just might be, but I'm just here to let everyone know, please start getting your stuff together, whether it's your, as I said, in the border areas of the United States. Hurricane season is coming, and the West Coast, with you guys just getting a hurricane, no, you guys are not safe. So please start getting yourself together, because again, hurricanes don't really hit that way. Earthquakes do. So start getting yourself together, because as I said before, hurricane season is approaching real rapidly, real quickly. The southern areas over here, we kind of know what we're doing whenever that time comes about. So I hope everybody just starts getting themselves together. Sorry to start the episode with that, but I had to, because I feel that since the hurricanes are happening and it's happening pretty quickly, I think people need to be on their toes and know what's going on. Now, I do want to start with this, and I do want to say that I meant to talk about this on Sunday, and I forgot about it. And I want to talk about the British nurse who was given 14 life sentences after basically being found guilty of killing 5 baby boys and 2 baby girls, making this nurse the most prolific child serial killer in modern history in the UK. The woman's name is Lucy Letby. The prosecution said Letby attacked her vulnerable, premature born victims, often during night shifts, by either injecting them with air, overfeeding them with milk, or poisoning them with insulin. Now, with her being arrested and being found guilty of this, I had to look up in the UK, what does that mean? Because their language is different from ours in America. She was given 14 whole life sentences. That means that whenever someone's handed down a whole life sentence in the UK, that means you are literally spending your whole life in prison. Like, there's no way, there's no parole, no none of that. So that means you're Dunsky, so she'll be dead, like dying in jail. And she should. Because you mean to tell me that you killed 7 babies, and I forgot to mention, she was attempting to kill 6 others, like babies, while they were in her care. So that's what she was also found guilty of. That's crazy to me. So all together, that's 6 plus 7, that's 13. God, I was about to say another number here. God, 13 babies. 7 you killed, 6 you were trying to, or you were about to. I don't understand what the deal is with human beings now. You got some real nasty, like, human beings now that are working in areas where they should not be working. You mean to tell me that a nurse who is supposed to look after babies, you mean to tell me that you killed them for what reason? You did this with what? I don't understand why. Babies, as I said before in previous episodes on here, and I'll say it again, babies are precious. Babies do nothing to anybody. Babies are literally Play-Doh in your hand. They're small, they're soft, they're squishy little human beings, and you can easily, and I mean easily, destroy them with a snap of your fingers if you were that really demented to do so. And I don't understand why someone working as a nurse, especially with babies, why would you want to harm or even kill a baby? It makes no sense. I don't get it. I'm saddened for the families that happen to have lost their children because of this woman. And the simple fact is, last Monday, when Lucy was found guilty, she didn't want to face the victim's parents. She didn't want to face the families. She stayed in her cell whenever the families gave their impact statements. Now, you usually have, like, the person being accused of this crime usually being sitting out there listening to them. I have never heard of someone declining that and saying, nope, I'm going to sit right in my cell and not listen to none of this. Usually you always will have someone be arrogant, Usually, some people, they're arrogant and sitting there. Certain people make faces. Certain people just have a like blank face. But almost all the time, the person is always there listening to the impact statements. This is one of the first times, at least in my life, that I'm paying attention to the news, that someone had declined and say, no, I'm not going to be there. I'm going to stay inside myself. That's crazy. So that means, within your mind, someone might say that she's not mentally right. She's not all the way there. No, you are there to say, I don't want to hear from the families of the parents that I basically took their kid from. You have something in your head that basically said you don't want to face them because deep down you did something completely demonizing, something that is so disheartening and so evil that you don't want to face someone. And I'm surprised, to be completely honest, because she was on trial for this. I had no idea about any of this. I don't know how any of the parents didn't try to jump up and try to attack this woman. I don't understand how that didn't happen in the slightest. Again, I'm not in the UK courts. At least over here in America, you see it. There has a court TV show called, I believe it was Court Cam, something along that lines. And from time to time, you'll see people literally attacking someone that's going to be on trial because they can't bear the image and idea of just allowing someone just to be on trial for someone that you killed. They're stronger than me. The point being, if you don't like your job, quit it. Just leave. You don't have to do something so heinous, so evil, so devilish like Lucy Letby over here. This was no reason for this. And still to this day, her motives are still unclear. They have no idea why she did what she did. Nobody knows. She's the only person that knows. And hopefully, you know what? If I was a parent, I wouldn't want to know why you did it. You already did what you did, and you telling me why you did it isn't going to change anything about it. So I hope her motives just die with her, and I'm hoping that the families at least can try in some way as the years will go by to hopefully ease the pain away from this. Even though they're not going to be able to have their kids back, I hope they find I hope the pain doesn't become as big as it is right now going forward into the future. That's all I do want to say about this. But again, this was a story that I forgot to talk about Sunday. So I wanted to bring that up here. And here's something that just popped up just a couple days ago. A North Carolina woman is facing charges after allegedly orchestrating a false report of her own murder to loved ones and authorities. Margaret Frances Elizabeth Sweeney, 37, was reported missing on Friday. Officers began an immediate investigation due to information that Sweeney was endangered or deceased. Sweeney, however, was found safe the next day. Investigators determined that Sweeney made anonymous false reports to a friend in the State Department of Social Services that she had been murdered, according to authorities. Sweeney was arrested Monday and charged with causing a false report to a police station, false report of death or serious injury by telephonic communication, and obstructing law enforcement officers. So basically here we have another one faking their own death here. I don't get why people are acting so dumb and stupid now. I don't get it. I don't get why people want to fake their own death. If you want to just go off the grid, do like certain people, just go off the grid. Go off into the woods. Say you're not wanting to be a part of this society the way that people do it anymore. Just go off the grid. I know it might sound simpler, easier said than done, but the only thing you gotta do is literally just quit your job, move around somewhere, try to get the funds to move around somewhere. And once you do, then move around somewhere. I don't understand why this woman would want to say that she's dead when she isn't. Why you won't want to give out a fake report of your own murder? It doesn't make sense to me. We are really in a society now where people are really becoming idiots. I don't get it. I don't get it. Probably back in the day, probably in the 80s and 70s and 60s, probably people were able to get away with this. I don't know. But with the internet, with people having telephones the way that people have telephones now that is so smart, you cannot get away with things like this. There is no way you can. All the drug dealers that have smartphones and all that type of stuff, just know the authorities, they have you. They're just waiting for you to do something really stupid so they can nab you. People out here that have technology, you are being tracked every single day. You're listening to me right now on any device that you're on, best believe you're being tracked right now. That's just the game that we're in right now. Know that. Dude, if you are thinking about reporting a false kidnapping, saying that you got kidnapped or trying to make it seem like you got kidnapped or whatever it may be, don't do it. If you try to say that you got murdered or create a Gone Girl situations, don't do it. Let the movies and TVs shows have that. Do not do what these stupid idiots are doing. I don't understand it. I truly don't. Sometimes I just feel that humanity has really lost its ways, and I think that, you know what? If Marvel's like Endgame really was the real deal, no, that was Infinity War. Either way, if Thanos was a real life situation and he really said, yo, if I could snap my fingers and take out half a civilization, I wouldn't be so oppressed to it. I wouldn't be so false to that idea. Because certain individuals really make you question how and why humans are so dumb. Because you get the false reports, you get this and that. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. And this is another one that just doesn't make sense for it to even be a news story, for it to even exist. So now, having said all of that, I do want to remind you guys that Saturday I will be talking about professional wrestling as usual for my Saturday's wrestling highlights of the week. And Sunday, I will be coming back to you guys with another Sunday episode of your My Two Cents podcast. It's where I talk about news stories that happen throughout the week and bring it to you guys. Some stories you will know about, some of the stories you will not know about. That's what Sunday's episode is usually about. And you might get a wrestling like review because AEW has their all-in pay-per-view review. It will happen at 1 o'clock over here in America. Over there in England, it'll be at night. I might give you that review Sunday, or I might hit you with it Monday. I got to figure out which one I want to do. But anywho, now having informed you guys of the scheduling, it's time for me to get you guys out of here. This has been your midweek breakdown presented by My Two Cents podcast, hosted by G2. He is I and I am him. And it's time for me to play you guys your song of the week. And song of the week for this week is Cocaine 80s Anywhere But Here. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Enjoy yourself.
Love got me feeling like sweet 16. Feels like I'm 16. And then next year we'll feel what? Yep. And then we'll feel what? Remix 17. And that'll be a whole nother thing. She was up and in the range all the time with the grind on her mind all the time. Went to Crenshaw High, learned singing from her brother who directed the choir, and swinging from her mother who protected the tribe. Oh yeah, opened a hole in the sky. She met a gangster who had traded her a heart for a lie. Oh yeah, she sure was blind. She clipped me one day and I looked up. I took a dive, a nigga was hot. She said, I heard that you did a lot. I'm leaving LA cause I'm beautiful. You coming or not? Oh yeah, I said you're beautiful, but I can't be out here on the ledge with you if you gonna jump. Oh yeah, she said she falling in love. She heard that I could get her signed and put her right in a mug. Oh yeah, you do look good in the pump, but you gon' have to take them off to reach the life that you want. She said, take me with you. Think we're meant to change my life and fall in love. She said, anywhere love but LA. Anywhere love but LA. She was up and on the train all the time with the grind on her mind all the time. From the 8 to the 5, learned the DJ from her brother to show her the rhyme. I open up a soul, you know, controlling the vibe. Oh yeah, open the hole in the sky. She dreamed an angel with a microphone to show her to fly. Oh yeah, she shows fly. I met her in the airspace, over my mind. A nigga was hot. She said, I heard that you did a lot. I flew to LA cause I'm beautiful, but I'm out of luck. Oh yeah, I cause you're beautiful, but I see your blinding light is in you, just don't use it enough. Oh yeah, I think I'm falling in love. You don't even know how you feel, but you've been calling in love. Oh yeah, I know we're not getting young, but I'm ready to hit the sky, so tell me, what do you want?